everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you guys how to achieve this very simple New Year's Eve look on my beautiful model here. So to begin with, I started off with a little bit of primer. I'm using some of the e.l.f. Pore Perfecting Primer, and this does have tea tree oil, so it does help to kind of soothe the skin, plus it smells really nice. Then I'm using some of the Urban Decay Primer Potion on her eyes, just to go ahead and prime her eyes and get it ready for any eyeshadow that is going to be on her eyes. And then I went ahead and used some of my NYX 3-in-1 brow pencil. So this has a pencil, powder, and a gel. So she already has really nice thick eyebrows, so all I did was just kind of fill in the sparse areas and use my spoolie in between to make sure that it didn't look harsh, because I wanted her brows to look a little softer, more fluffy and natural, but still really nice and defined. So I'm just taking my time using short hair like strokes. And then I just went ahead and did the same thing on the other eye. I always start by kind of outlining the eyebrows first and then filling in the little spaces. And I do it section by section whenever I'm doing other people's brows. I don't know why I do it this way, but it just is the way that I do it. And I'm sorry if there are some angles in this video that are kind of hard to see. This is my first time doing this, so we're learning together. And then I'm going to go ahead and be using my Huda Beauty Smoky Obsession palette. I love these palettes because they're very nice and small, but it has all the colors that you need in one. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with this matte medium brown on a Morphe M533 brush, and just go ahead and apply that kind of in her crease and a little bit in her outer corner as well. And this is just going to work as a nice transition shade for the other colors we're going to apply on top. And next I'm going in with my MAC 217 brush and grabbing a little bit of this medium chocolate brown, and I'm going to start applying this in her outer V first to apply the most definition in this area, and then I'm going to go ahead and start blending out whatever's left over into the crease, so that way it looks nice and smoky. So the look that I'm kind of going for today is a very soft silvery smoky eye that kind of has almost a cut crease effect to it. You guys will see as I continue. And like I said, this look is very simple. It just takes 3 little shades and that's really pretty much it. So next I'm just taking some of this matte vanilla shade from my Anastasia contour kit, and I'm just going to use this as her brow bone highlight, and this is also going to help to kind of blend out that crease area to make sure that there are no harsh lines. Especially when I do makeup on other people, it's not the most easiest thing because they do have different eye shapes, so everyone's eye is different. So then I'm taking this metallic silver color, which is the star of the show, and taking it and wetting it with a little bit of my Evian water, and I'm just taking that on a flat synthetic brush. Sorry that my hair is in the way. It fell out of my ponytail that I had, so it will be making an appearance every now and then. Anyway, I'm just putting that on the lid, mostly in the inner part of the lid, leaving that outer V untouched. And I just really take my time with this, build up the color, build up the intensity that I want until I get it to be as opaque as I want it. And then I'm just going back in with my MAC 217 brush, making sure that it blends out all of the edges and that it looks nice and seamless, because we don't want any harsh lines with this. Even though it kind of does have a little bit of that cut crease type of essence, it still is a soft smoky eye at the same time. So it's kind of like a mix of both. So this next step is optional. I'm just taking some of the matte black from the palette and just kind of putting that and closest to her lash line to kind of tight line, and this is just gonna kind of create a little bit more depth to the eye without putting an eyeliner. So this is a nice option for you if you don't know how to do wing eyeliner, or if you don't want to do wing eyeliner. So next I'm taking some of this orange from my color correcting palette from Pierre Cosmetics is what I believe it's called. I got this in my BoxyCharm and I absolutely love this palette, especially for clients, because it has that orange, the green, and the yellow, which every person is different, so everyone has different needs. And plus it blends out really nicely. So I went ahead and put the orange underneath her eyes to correct any dark circles. And then I went ahead and took some of the green around her nose, which is where almost every single woman has a lot of redness, as well as on the tip of her nose and a little bit on her chin, because these were the areas where she had a little bit of redness, so we want to make sure that it doesn't seep through the foundation. And then I just went ahead and put a little bit of the purple on her cheeks as well as in the forehead, and this is just going to kind of help to brighten up those areas and add a little bit more luminosity to that area. And then I'm just using some of my Real Technique sponge, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that to blend out all of that corrector. I really like using the sponge because it really helps to pick up any excess product if you put a little bit too much, and it helps it become one with the skin. I find that using a sponge to blend out correctors works best because of the fact that it just looks more natural and you don't have too much pigmentation on there, but you're still correcting just enough. So then I'm using some of this concealer palette that I bought on Amazon, and I'm just mixing a few concealer shades, and I'm going to go ahead and use this underneath her eyes. And I'm just warning you guys right now, my camera did overheat, so as I was starting to do her other eye, it did cut off, but I just basically did this and then blended it out again with my Real Technique sponge. So then I'm taking some of her foundation. She uses the Neutragena foundation. I will link it down below for you guys. And I'm just using that on my beauty blender to kind of blend that into the skin, make it look more skin-like, because I think that especially for New Year's or any time that you're going to be on camera, you want to have nice coverage, but you still want to look like skin-like in person. And then I'm taking some of this Piladio rice powder, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that on that same beauty blender to kind of bake underneath the eyes as well as near the nose, and that's just going to help to accentuate her contours of her nose and make it look a little bit more natural. And this way you don't have to use a contour shade to actually bring out the nose. It's up to you if you want to keep it that way or if you want to add some extra contour. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and set her forehead as well as her chin, so that way those two areas that tend to get a little bit more oily don't get as oily, which is perfect for New Year's, because if you're going to be partying and with all the fireworks and whatnot, you want to make sure you don't sweat your makeup off. And then I'm just grabbing a little bit more of that rice powder on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to use that to wipe off the baking as well as setting the rest of her face makeup, so that way I can move on to applying more powders on top, so that way you don't have any blotchiness on the skin. Next, I'm taking my Anastasia contour kit, and this is in the shade light medium, and I'm just taking this crown brush. This is actually a contouring brush. I really like it, especially for using it on clients, because it just really gets into the hollows of the cheeks very nicely while still blending it out, and it just makes her look more contoured, I guess you could say, or snatched. So then I'm also going to go ahead and contour a little bit on her forehead as well as on her jawline as well, just to define those areas. Especially if you're going to be taking pictures, you want to make sure that those natural contours are very nice and defined. And then I decided just to add a little bit of extra contouring on her nose just to really make it pop. I didn't have to do this step if I didn't want to, but since we're going for a full glam look here, I decided to just add a little bit more definition to her face. And next I'm taking some of my e.l.f. blush palette, and I'm taking this nice peachy shade, mixing it in with a little bit of this red shade just to create a nice natural flush to her face. Since we are going to use a very nice bold lip, I want to make sure that I have a nice bold blush, but since she's not as deep in complexion as I am, I don't want it to be too dark. So that's why I kind of mixed in a lighter shade with a darker shade. And then I'm going to take some of the Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop, and this is from her face palette, and I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the highest points of her cheekbones. And on clients, unless they specify, I usually like to keep a very nice natural highlight, so that way it just looks like they're glowing from within and not that they're blinding people from outer space. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some of my Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. I absolutely love this setting spray, especially for clients. It just makes the face look very nice and luminous. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some of the Maybelline Big Shot Mascara. And I'm going to go ahead and prep her lashes for falsies, basically. So I just like to put a nice thin coat. Usually if the customer or the client doesn't want falsies, then I just have them put on their own mascara to build up the intensity that they want, so that way they can really build it up. Then I'm taking some of this medium brown color, and I'm just going to take that on my MAC 217 brush, and I have her look up, and then I just apply that underneath her lash line. That way it adds a little bit of smokiness to the bottom lash line without being too intense, because we don't want it to be really dark underneath there. And I'm sorry about my hair being in the scene again. And then I'm taking some of my Salon Perfect Demi Wispy lashes and taking some of my Kiss Lash Glue, which is my absolute favorite lash glue of all time. It is amazing. It dries really fast. It doesn't get too sticky or tacky. And it's very easy, especially when you're using it on other people. And after her lashes are on, then I just went ahead and took a little bit of this really pretty pink champagne color, and I just used that to highlight her inner corner. And this is going to kind of be a base. If you want to leave it just like this, you can, but I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So after I do this, I'll show you guys what I do next. So then I go ahead and take some of my Ulta glitter tears, and this is in the shade Cosmic, I believe, and I just put that right on top of that inner corner highlight and a little bit on their lower lash line, and this really just makes the eyes really pop. I love doing this trick so much. Like, it's something that I'm just obsessed with doing, especially for glam looks. I absolutely love how it looks. And then whenever I'm torn between lip colors, I always hold it to her face after her eye makeup is done and just kind of decide. So I decided to go with the shade Mamacita from ColourPop times I Love Sarai. And I use the lip liner in that shade to define her lips. And take your time with this step, especially with darker lip liners, because you want to make sure that you get nice and precise. This is the hardest thing about doing makeup on another person, for sure. And then I took the liquid lipstick in the same exact shade, and I just went ahead and applied that right on top of her lips, and took my time with this as well. Even though we did line the lips, you still want to make sure that you're precise with these darker colors, especially anything that has a red base. Reds, for some reason, are one of the hardest colors to apply on yourself, let alone another person. So just really take your time with this, use really short strokes, and make sure that you get really close to the lip line. And then once we have done that, the look is complete. I hope you guys did enjoy this tutorial, and if you guys do recreate it, please make sure you guys do tag me using my hashtag on Instagram. And as always, if you guys have any requests, please leave them down below in the comment sections, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then.